Hello, my name is Jason Howell, and you may have received some money in the mail. It's your economic impact payment card, and I'm going to teach you how to turn that into cash. Now, a little history first. A couple of months ago, way back at the end of March, if that seems so far ago, there was a law that passed Congress called the CARES Act, the Coronavirus Aid, Relief, and Economic Security Act. It was phase 3 legislation to help support the economy and really put some money in the pocket of most taxpayers, at least taxpayers that are making less than $75,000 adjusted gross income. And if they had a couple of kids, they'd get $500 per kid. So that actually happens. That happened near the end of March, early April, but mostly for people who had a tax refund in the prior 2 years, because those folks would have already had their banking information sent to the IRS. And so the IRS sent them their economic impact statements or their stimulus payments right away. But what about all the other people who maybe had to pay taxes that year or maybe didn't file? Well, they were going to get checks. Now, smartly, those folks are going to be prioritized. For the people who basically made the least amount of money, they would be prioritized first to get their economic impact stimulus checks. And they got their checks. But what about all the other folks who maybe made just enough to clear the bar to get some kind of stimulus or economic impact payment? Those folks were supposed to be later into August or into the summer. Well, I was pretty surprised that this weekend people started receiving an envelope like this. And if you open this envelope, which comes from the Money Network Cardholder Services, which sounds just like junk mail, you will see a card in there, which is your economic impact payment card. You won't see one on here, but I'll show you a website so you can see what it looks like. And the 800 number that I've highlighted, where you can call to activate that card. Now, this is important. You'll see a little slip of paper in here too. And this little emblem is the U.S. Department of Treasury. Again, this isn't junk mail. This isn't a scam. Enclosed is your economic impact payment card. This prepaid debit card is being sent to you on behalf of the U.S. Department of Treasury in place of a paper check. Wow. All right, so originally people got direct deposits. Then a lot of people on the lower end of the income scale got their checks. And just this past week or so, the U.S. Treasury has been sending these cards out to the public. And there's been news that people have been throwing them away, thinking it was junk mail or a scam, and it actually isn't. But most importantly, it's a card. And so how can you get the money off of that card into a savings account or maybe into paying off debt as opposed to just spending it? Well, I'll show you how to do that in 3 steps. In fact, I'll at least start by telling you how to do it in 3 easy steps. Number 1, activate the card. So you activate it by calling that 800 number. I've kind of highlighted it. I know you can't see it, but if you get one of these in the mail, you'll figure it out. 800 numbers down here too. You call them and you call to activate. Now you're going to need your social security number. In fact, if you file jointly with someone, you're going to need the primary person's social security number. Now, how do you know who's primary? Well, it's the person whose first name is on the card. That social security number will help to activate the card and verify the card. The second thing you'll need to do is to create a PIN number, a 4-digit PIN, just like all the ATM PINs you've ever created. You may not need that PIN if you do what I show you how to do to move cash into your bank account, but get that PIN anyway and write that down. The third thing on that very first step is to listen to how much your economic impact money is going to be, how much the stimulus is for you, and write that number down. You're going to need that number later on. Okay. Second big thing to do out of the 3 steps, right? So number 1 is activate, and those 3 steps I told you were only part 1 of how you activate the card. The second thing you do, flip the card over, sign it. That means it's authorized to be used. And the third step is drive over to your bank and tell your bank person that you'd actually like to get at least what my bank person said, a cash advance on the amount of money that's there. How much money? All of the money, which is why you needed to write down that number. There will be no fee for this. And then you can just take that cash and deposit it into your bank and then do whatever you'd like to do with it, okay? So steps 1, 2, 3, activate the card is number 1. Number 2, sign the card. Number 3, drive over to your bank. And if you're a really good person, use a drive-through, drop your license in there, or maybe a debit card from the bank, and then this card in there, and tell the person before you zoom up that thing through that weird canister that you'd like to basically deposit the money into your account, and they will tell you whether it's a cash advance or some other way of getting the money. All right, let me show you a couple of things though, before we go, that you should look at when you're wanting to do this with your card. And to do that, I'm going to share my screen. Okay, and this is me doing a Google search for EIP Card. And this is the website that they would like you to actually go to before finishing the activation for your card. So I jumped ahead a little bit there, but here you can see start using your EIP card, and then this is what your card actually looks like. It's blue and white, very pretty. And how to get started, read the cardholder agreement schedule, or fee schedule. If you click this and then you view the PDF, it's really pretty tiny, and you will not be typically inclined to read all of this. And so what I've done for you is I have looked at this and made some highlights. So this is that same agreement and cardholder deal, a lot larger. And then you can see here's what's really important. They really intend to not charge people to use this card. So there are a lot of no-cost services and transactions. For example, you could use the ATM with that same PIN number I told you to write down and get some cash that way if you'd like. Or, just right here, you can see $0 for the first withdrawal, but then $2 afterwards. So if you're going to withdraw money, maybe you withdraw all of it if you feel safely enough to do that. But this is what you can do on the front end. I recommend instead, you can see your $1,000 limit for the ATM, maybe doing a point of sale transaction. Now you see there's a limit of $2,500 per day. If you got more of a stimulus than $2,500, you probably got it a month or two ago. Most of the folks who are getting their cards now are probably not much higher than $2,000 when it comes to the stimulus. And so this point of sale transaction limit most likely will not apply to you. But regardless, if you would like to do the technique that I shared with you, I'm scrolling down through a bunch of stuff that you may never need, because once you move the money from this card, you probably won't be using it again. And you'll see here, bank teller over-the-counter cash withdrawal. Now, right here is $5 fee, but read the not so fine print. We will not charge this fee for your first withdrawal on your card. Okay, so the smart thing is to take the exact amount of the entire card, ask your teller to withdraw all of it and put it into your account, and then you never need to do another withdrawal. You'll never have that $5 fee. Hopefully that's a little bit helpful. And you can see here, transfer to customer bank fee should be $0. So maybe even if you didn't ask for a specific type of transaction, maybe you could do multiple times, but why? You may as well just go ahead and withdraw all of it and then do with it as you wish. So that's it in 3 easy steps. Activate your card, sign your card, take it to the bank, and make a withdrawal for the funds and have them deposited into your bank. And then you go about your business with your normal bank debit cards or your checks or what have you. Pay your bills, save the money if you need to, even though it probably wasn't designed for you to save it when the federal government was setting it up, or pay off debt. Whatever makes sense for you. Now you've got all the choices at your disposal. And that's all I've got for you. I hope you have a great day and spend your money wisely.